We have been talking a great deal about the various laws of the universe. One of these laws I would like to call the law of repetition. We now know that we have what we call the conscious function of the mind. Also, we know that we have the subconscious function of the mind, and that all thought originates in the conscious phase of the mind. That we design our concepts in the form of ideas, and we clothe these ideas with our words. We express them by speaking our word or writing our word. When the conscious mind arrives at a concept and defines it in the form of an idea, then it expresses it as a word. A group of words makes a sentence, making a more beautiful design and the concept through a series of sentences until the idea is well defined in definite size, color, texture, and motive. Through the conscious phase of the mind, we speak our words and express these ideas over and over and over again. Each time we express our concept in a series of words in a well-defined manner, this word or idea is planted in the subconscious phase of our mind, which is the female portion of the father, mother, son principle of life, and a little vibration is recorded in the subconscious the first time we express the concept. The second time we express it, the recording is enhanced or a little more indelibly recorded. It could be likened to sticking a needle onto a blank record, and you, with your hand, fix this needle with a straight line onto the record, and then you take the needle and enam it down that same groove again, with just a little more pressure, until the groove becomes a little deeper and a little wider. The third time that you run the needle on the same channel, it becomes a little deeper and a little wider, and the fourth time a little deeper and a little wider, and the fifth and sixth times a little deeper and a little wider, and so on. And if you were to run that needle up and down that groove, say 50 times, it would be what we call deeply engrooved, and a very definite track would be established in the record. Well, each time we control our attention and express our word along a certain line, repeating over and over and over again and again a certain concept or a certain idea, we are making a track in the subconscious. We are building what we call practical psychology, a conditioned consciousness. We are building a habitual feeling, or a condition, from which we express a habitual feeling in the subconscious. And it has been proved that when we go through this process, through repeating and repeating and repeating over and over again, a concept will become established in the subconscious as a condition from which we will react with feeling habitual, and then that is known as a part of us. And as Solomon said, "As a man thinketh, so is he." He is what he is. I am what I am, and you are what you are, because of the total of these conditions in the subconscious, which were established through the law of repetition. By first arriving at a concept in which we believe in the concept which we have a sincere desire to be established in the subconscious, we then establish it, and that becomes a part of us and is the total of what we are, fulfilling the statement that was made that as a man thinks it's in his heart, so is he. So, let us apply this from a practical point of view. Let's take an example of a man who at present is poor. He is poverty-stricken and does not express abundance. Then, if he is a poor man because of what he thinks in his heart, or the total of these conditioned concepts, which have been repeated consciously and unconsciously over and over again, we have arrived at a principle. We can find out how he became what he is. He is a poor man because he has a concept of poverty that he has consciously and unconsciously repeated over and over to his subconscious until it has become a condition or part of the total of all of the conditioned concepts which make up its entirety, so that he can say that I am what I am because of the total of all these conditions. Now, inasmuch as that is true, then if he can get a concept of abundance and get it well defined in his conscious mind, and then if he will give attention to this new concept over and over again, and write it out in words so that it means something definite to him in the form of an abundant concept of life, so that he can speak his word or write his word over and over again, taking advantage of this tremendous law of repetition, which, by the way, is as tangible as electricity, gravity, mathematics, and chemistry, then he can build this new condition in the subconscious in the form of an abundant condition. And when he does that, he neutralizes the old concept, or the old condition, based upon a poverty concept. And as soon as he has repeated and gives attention to this new abundant concept until it becomes firmly established as a new and indelible, and the erasable tract in the subconscious, he will become an individual. For he is an individual when he reaches the condition of expressing abundance habitually. Now, through this law of repetition, we can deal with the area of cause, which is the father principle as was described in another chapter. A well-defined idea in the conscious mind is the father principle. A well-defined idea is planted in the subconscious, or the female portion of the mind, and then the son or the dream fulfilled is a result of the offspring. So, we're getting down to basic causes when we are dealing with well-defined ideas and concepts, which we control through the imagination. Through our burning desires, we have that wonderful ability, that wonderful function in our minds to design our desire. We can put any design, shape, size, color, texture, and quality that we desire in our original concept. We can work on it like an artist until we perfect it. We can add to it and take from it until we are satisfied with our design and its content, in the form of a well-defined idea. That is the first step. Then we concentrate on that. We think about it. We have a movement of thought in the conscious phase of our mind along these lines exactly, over and over and over again, until we establish this new track more strongly than the old track of the opposite nature. For example, we build the new track on abundance much more strongly and deeply than the old track, which was based on our belief in poverty. The same thing applies, of course, to the problem of happiness, harmony, and peace of mind. The only reason the average person doesn't have happiness is that they have a conditioned concept established through this long repetition of the opposite of happiness, which is unhappiness and inharmony. They have learned to react habitually, inharmoniously, or negatively to life situations. Thousands and thousands of times they have reacted negatively to life situations until they have a negative consciousness in the subconscious from which they habitually react. They can consciously decide, through willpower, through imagination, and not only can they decide through willpower, but they can design a new concept of happiness and harmony and peace of mind through imagination, through a burning desire, and through this great law of repetition. Then can give all of their attention to the new concept of happiness, harmony, and peace of mind, until they build this newly conditioned concept of happiness, harmony, and peace of mind in the subconscious. Then it, of course, neutralizes, replaces or erases the old concept, and then we will react positively to all life situations instead of negatively. But I want to emphasize the power of repetition. The average person today is bored the second or third time they hear something. As soon as they can pronounce the words and as soon as they have a surface understanding of the words, they say to themselves unconsciously, "Oh, I've heard that before," and they are bored with hearing it again and again and again. They pull down their inner mental curtain, withdraw their attention, and pay no more attention to it. Now that is psychological suicide. You can never build a condition in the subconscious from which he will react habitually until you take advantage of this law of repetition. If you are introduced to an idea, and it appears that the idea, if it should become a condition in your subconscious, would bring you either happiness, health, or prosperity, and all three or even two of them, then glorify that idea. Insist upon reading it or listening to it or speaking it hundreds of times. I have made recordings in the last 10 years of all of the cardinal principles of the universe, and I have played these back to my subconscious. Not Lu, not Mu, but sometimes many thousands of times until my subconscious is conditioned completely through these wonderful truths of the universe. I had to learn how to listen, however. After I had heard some of these things 2 or 3 times, I've never attempted to say to myself, "Well, I heard that before." By the way, I have faced every problem anyone else has faced along these lines. Things have not always come easy. I have gone through the school of hard knocks. I've had to learn to enjoy repetition. That is one of the most wonderful things that I could recommend to you. Learn to enjoy repetition. Attend meetings, attend lectures, and read books. If they have a message for you that you are interested in, that you would like to master, you can master anything that you want to master if you will repeat it a sufficient number of times for your subconscious. We cannot ever become anything in particular unless we learn this law of repetition. It is one of the greatest laws in the universe. It is a process of learning like memorizing a poem. You have to repeat it over and over and over, a sufficient number of times until you have memorized it and until it is recorded in the subconscious. You not only want to record the knowledge in the subconscious, but you also want to record wisdom. After you have it so that you can memorize it, then keep on saying it until it has meaning. By repeating it and studying it over and over, it has meaning. And when you get the meaning and then how to apply the meaning, that is wisdom. So make no small plans, for they have no magic to stir men's blood.